called your at least your work friends over the years that you've watched pass away way before their time. How do you
Yeah,
digest
I
all
tell
of
you,
this
Brad
pain?
hit me strong. Brad hit me hard, but I tell you, the hardest one to hit me was Jerry Toot the Wall. He was with Berlin when he first came out,
I
and I
remember.
worked with
I
Jerry over in
remember.
All
Yeah.
Japan in WCW. But me and Jerry were great buddies. Me, him, Rick Cornell, Dale Torberg, which was the Demon. We all had like a special bond together. And Jerry used to come over to my house all the time and hang out. And I remember when I first got my Doberman, he was over there holding it and taking pictures with it. And Gentle Giant, man, awesome dude. Miss that guy to death, man. He's the one that hit me the hardest out of all the wrestlers that I've been around over the years. I mean, they all suck, but when you're when you got a really good friend in the business, which doesn't happen a lot, and he ends up passing away, and the way he did it really hurt me the hardest.
All right, let's backtrack. How you get to WCW with the power plant? You get out of there, you get to WCW, you get your break in the big time, and they give you the name Kwee Wee. Were you cool with that in the beginning, or did you think to yourself, what's a Kwee Wee, or was it your idea, or how did you receive the name in your
Okay,
mind?
so Vince, well, the first time I was walking, me and Mike Sanders was walking through an airport in West Virginia. So Terry Taylor and Vince Russo are sitting at the gate. So we walk up to the gate, and I had my hair spiked up, and that's how I was wearing it for real. And so I'm walking through the airport like this, and they see me, and they're like, "You actually wear your hair like that in the airport?" And this one, I was just doing Saturday night stuff. I was just at Alan Funk doing Saturday nights, and
Right.
I said, "Yeah, I always wear my hair like that." And so they were like, "You know what?" Vince told me, he goes, "You know what? I think I might have something for you. I need you to go to one of the go buy a VHS of this character, the Mango, that was on Saturday Night Live, which was Chris Kattan. You remember the
Okay.
Mango character?"
I do. I
So
remember
I went.
Saturday night. I used to watch.
So then he told me to go buy that videotape and then come talk to him Monday at Nitro. So I go to the mall and I buy this VHS and watch this video. This character, Chris Kattan, was playing the Mango. And then I go to Vince Monday night and he's like, "Did you watch the video?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, I got a gimmick that I want you to do. We're going to call you Kiwi. And it was Kiwi. So we
Right.
started doing the gimmick and it started off as Kiwi. Well, Saturday Night Live was going to sue him because there was a character that David Spade did, which was Mango's brother or Mango's cousin or something. And Saturday Night Live threatened to sue WCW, so they just changed the name from Kiwi to Kwee Wee, which I wasn't very fond of. But when you're a
Yeah, Kwee
young
Wee.
kid coming up in the business and you're
Yeah.
starting from the bottom of the barrel, you're willing to
I'll
do
take it.
whatever you
No.
got to do. And you're right, you'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I took it and ran with it as good as I could, as much as they let me do with it. Uh,
Yeah.
I could have done a lot more that they wouldn't let me do with it. They give me this character and they set me up for failure. They said if you get any gay chance or faggot chance or anything like this, you're off air. You're done. And I'm like, well, aren't you kind of just setting me up
Yeah,
for dying?
exactly.
You
My
want
God, you
that
have no.
reaction?
Wait a minute. I got to ask you,
I,
Alan, who said that to you? Who said
I
that
don't
to
get
you?
it.
That was Vince that said that.
So
Russo.
Vince sets you up with the character, and he goes, "By the way, if you get any
Yeah.
gay chance, you're done."
Yep.
I
Him
got.
and like I want to say maybe Bill Banks maybe too said that. Like a couple of the guys were standing there, and I'm thinking, dude. But the good news is they always had pretty decent, good looking chicks come out with me.
Right.
So I think that helped with the chance and not getting the gay chance or whatever you want to call them. I think that definitely helped me out. But I think my work helped it out too.
I listen,
Did you?
dude. I got to give you credit too, married man. But you had some hot chicks with you. I mean, there
Dude,
had
you
to be
ain't lying.
loads of opportunities, man. Loads
Yeah,
of
man, I had
opportunities.
Kathy Dingman, which was BB in WWE.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
Charmel,
Boy.
of course. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember the one of the first ones they give me. I think it was actually the second one because I had Kathy Dingman, which was BB, the first one. So Mark Madden brings a stripper from Pittsburgh one night to the TV. Says, "Hey, why didn't we she had to come out with Alan?" So I come out with this freaking stripper, huge brat, just nothing like I'm normally around. and I pick her up in my arms, and you can watch this. The whole time down the ramp into the ring, we're freaking making out. Like, and my ex-wife wanted to divorce me. She was ready to kill me after that night.
You're like, honey,
Can
that's
I ask
part
how
of
that
it's part of
turned
the
out at home?
gimmick. It's part of the
Wait.
gimmick.
Well, I mean, it was part of the gimmick, but I didn't blame her. But
Listen, let me ask you this: is Vince Russo, was he a genius in the industry, or was he just a guy that caught on to Jerry Springer and ran with it?
well, I mean, there's a lot of opinions about Vince, but I can honestly say I don't have a bad thing to say about him. He was just trying to do his job. The thing about Vince was he wasn't afraid to try stuff. Whether it failed or didn't fail is, to me, is irrelevant. When you're in the entertainment business, you're trying to, throw crap against the wall and see what's fixed.
Wait a minute. Respectfully, Alan, if you got a guaranteed contract, it doesn't matter how you perform. It's much easier to try things, right?
I understand that part of it too.
People's money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which he ended up going home and getting paid.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this: Bischoff, McMahon, Russo, Cornette. Who's the most? Who has the legitimate mind for wrestling and who doesn't?
No, by far Vince. Or Vince McMahon, not Vince Russo. I mean, look what he built. I mean, you can't deny it.
How about Bischoff and Russo?
I would say Bischoff. Only the fact that, he when he was there and the NWO came out and this and that, and you can't deny that either.
Alan, did you
and I actually like Bischoff's, and he's a pretty nice guy too. Always treated me very nice. Don't have a bad word to say about him either.
Did you? I'm playing devil's advocate, but did you ask yourself when Vince Russo tells you with a straight face, and I'm not asking you to throw anybody under the bus, but did you at least ask yourself when Vince Russo tells you with a straight face that he doesn't want you to get any fag chance or anything? Honestly, I think that's the kind of heat the character would be looking for, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, when he tells you this, do you realize at the time, or do you think to yourself, this is the guy that sent Ed Ferrara out there to make fun of JR's medical, impairments, and put Buff Bagwell's mother on a forklift? Did you think to yourself, isn't this the kettle calling the pot black, or a little bit to something at least to yourself? Like, what the hell? Why are you capping my gimmick when you just said it? He's not afraid to try stuff. Why did he cap your gimmick, but he's doing these horrible things with other gimmicks? Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I did. Absolutely. I thought the same things myself. Unfortunately, the position I was in, I didn't have a voice. I really didn't. Right. And, you could say, well, you should have spoken up for yourself and tried to listen. I was just trying to keep a job. Yeah. Guys were going in and out the door all the time. You had all this good talent coming up. I believed enough in my abilities as a worker that I would, the cream rises. I always legitimately thought that it was all hard work in the wrestling business, but it's not. Not saying that doesn't help you, but I really was relying on my wrestling ability and what I knew I could contribute to the show that would help me get over that obstacle.
Who killed WCW?
I mean, pretty much everybody says Vince, don't they, Russo?
I want to know what you think. Who killed WCW?
Well, okay, so I can tell you this from being backstage. I don't know if you remember when Bischoff started taking over the company. So Bischoff comes in. Now all of a sudden he's the boss. That was right after Vince left. Russo, I believe. I'm trying to remember all this.
When they returned them. At one point, they try to have them together. When they returned Bischoff back, and they
because we were R&B security. The guys from the power plant. Remember, we used to wear the black with the red R&B security.
Right.
So me and Mike Sanders and Jindrak. Well, Jindrak's another one I forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
But so Bischoff comes in, and I'm in the locker room. I remember I'm sitting there talking to Tank Abbott. I'm talking to Jim Duggan and a few of the other guys. Jerry Toot the Wall was there. So Janie Ingles knocking on the door out there, something like yelling and stuff, and might have been Mike Awesome walked in and said, "Hey, Janie Ingles out there. She wants to talk to you." And I said, "Why in the hell would Janie Ingle, which was one of the lawyers for WCW, and she had a lot to do with the contracts and stuff like that." So I said, I don't know, man. I start walking out there and I'm thinking to myself, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Because usually when you talk to her, you might be getting fired. And especially in the position I'm in, I'm nobody. You know, I'm just trying to make a name for myself. So I'm a little nervous walking out to the hall. And she goes, hey, Alan, you know, she goes, hey, I'm going to walk you over here to Eric's office. He wants to talk to you. I'm thinking, holy shit. Like, you know, again, it's either going to be really good or really bad. So I walk into Eric's office and he's like, hey, have a seat. I sit down. I start talking to Eric. He's telling me he's going to give me a big push. He loves me. So I'm excited as hell, dude. Like, I'm like, hell yeah, finally, this is all what I've been working for. And he said, I need you to do me a favor tonight. We were in Indianapolis. He says, I need you to do a match with Rick Steiner, and I need you to put him over and make him look like $1 million. Because he started losing his luster a little bit and people weren't taking him serious. So him and I had a match, and he beat the living piss out of me. Loved it, though. He loved it. Go backstage. Bischoff loved it. He said, that's exactly what I wanted. You did exactly what I asked of you. Good things are in the making for you. So I'm excited. You know, I'm like, good. I did what he wanted. Thank God. You know, Rick was happy with it. Rick, you know, really, you know, shook my hand and gave me a hug backstage and said that was exactly what they were looking for. They were glad to use me for that spot, which, you know, I was glad I was used for that spot. And then every week at the show on Nitros, Jane Eagle would come and get me, take me to Eric's office. This happened for about 3-4 weeks in a row. He's saying, hey, I'm going to give you more money. You're going to be one of my top guys, blah, blah, blah. And everything that he was saying was happening. So I didn't have any reason to doubt what he was telling me. And I definitely didn't know WCW was about to go under within that, you know, couple weeks. So, yeah, but he took over. I started getting more spots. I was, you know, you'd see more signs in the crowd. I was getting a bigger push. Me and Elix Skipper did a semi-main event on Nitro in Canada. And things were starting to fall in place. So then, I mean, I thought everything was good. So then we're headed to, which would be the last pay-per-view, Greed in Jacksonville, Florida. Me and Ross Foreman, he was an office guy. We used to go to a lot of the baseball games, which we knew a lot of Major League Baseball players. So we went down to Florida for for probably 5-6 days and watched some baseball games with Haku and, you know, hung out with some baseball players. So we're driving to Jacksonville for the pay-per-view that Sunday. And I wasn't booked on the show, but I was booked on the Nitro. So as we're driving to the show, we're almost to Jacksonville. Kevin Nash calls and says, hey, man, Vince just bought WCW. And when he said Vince, I'm thinking Vince Russo. Like, what? I thought Bischoff was running.
Where'd that guy get his money from? Blockbuster?
Yeah, but he goes, no, Vince McMahon. And I said, are you kidding me? He said, nope, Vince McMahon just bought WCW. And he says, do not tell anybody. And nobody knew about this, not one person. And I knew nobody knew this because so we go to the pay-per-view that Sunday. Nobody's talking about this. No one knew anything about it. It was as business as usual in WCW. I mean, nothing changed. And me and Ross even looked at each other at one point and said, nobody knows. And I said, do not, make sure you don't tell anybody. Because, you know, I'm a man of my word. I'm not going to say nothing to anybody. And Kevin, you know, told me not to tell anybody. He trusted me enough.
Alan, I just have to ask you this. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's like, here you are. You're finally getting a push. I imagine you're making a good amount of money under that umbrella. And all of a sudden, Nash calls you, and it might be the worst news of your life, right? Because it's like,
it could be the best and the worst.
Right. But, you know, again, odds are, right, you know, WWE at that point still had the bigger guys, and I thought you were a small guy, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So
yeah. Well, here's my thinking when he told me that. I asked him this question too, as you asked that question. I asked him, I said, what do you think that's going to do for me, Kevin? Realistically, because Kevin was on a different level than me. That's facts. And I trusted what he was telling me because he was always giving me advice, and I traveled with him, and I trusted what he would have to tell me. And he said, well, as far as I know, they're going to pick up your contract. And he says, other than that, I really don't know what's going to happen. And, I appreciated the honesty, and I was happy that he told me they picked up my deal, which I didn't know for sure yet. So again, I'm going to fall back on my faith and my belief in myself. I wasn't worried at all. Like well, you know what? I said, I'm a hell of a worker. They can't get rid of me. I look good. I'm contributing to the show. There's no way in hell they'll get rid of me. And I don't think I was being cocky, and that was just for me. I was trying to, hype myself up and tell myself that, you got great ability. You're not going anywhere. Just calm down. And that's what I told myself. And then, so like I said, that Sunday, the pay-per-view, I actually got booked on the pay-per-view once I was there, and I wrestled Jason Jett, which was the opening match, which was a 15-minute friggin', if you ask me, it was the best match on the card. I don't know if you guys remember that match at all.
I'd have to look back, but yeah.
Yeah, go watch that match, me and Jason Jett, for the opener, that last pay-per-view, that Greed pay-per-view. I'm a little biased, but we tore the house down, bro. And I think that was a match Steiner wrestled DDP, maybe. What's that?
Hey, refresh me. When does Shane walk in at Panama City Beach for the final Nitro? Okay. Was it the next night after the pay-per-view?
Yeah, it was the next night, but I was going to get to that, yeah. So, like I said, though, Sunday, not one person said nothing about anything. No one knew. So me and Ross then we're like, shit, maybe did they buy? Because nobody said anything. So we're driving to the arena for Nitro, me and Ross Foreman. And he's really good friends with Kevin. Him and Kevin are like best friends. So we pull into the parking lot, boom, there's all the WWE trucks. And we're like, holy crap, he did buy them. So then I started getting I'm like, boy, I wonder how this is going to be. Guys walking in here to enemy territory. I didn't know how it was going to be. So we walked in. The vibe seemed kind of normal, but a little off. Guys were friendly. Tom, Pritchard, just some of the referees. Stephanie McMahon was there. Shane McMahon. Very nice, always nice to me. So I talked to Shane and Stephanie, shook their hand, had a conversation with them briefly. Everything seemed fine, but because nobody knew what was going on yet.
But real quick though, what was Luger and Jarrett like? With like, oh, I'm fucked, I'm out of here, like I'm done.
Yeah, because I was friends with Jarrett more than I was Luger at the time. But yeah, a lot of those guys were, I do remember hearing a few guys, like some of the kind of guys that rocked the boat a little bit, saying
Scott Steiner wasn't probably too happy. I'm assuming Scott Steiner.
Well, you know what? Scotty's one of those guys where he happy, not happy. He's the same. He don't give a crap. He really don't. He'll say whatever he wants. So yeah. Scotty was just Scotty, same Scotty. So they said, we're going to have a meeting. So we all got together, a few hours later after everybody got there. They assured us that everything was going to stay the same, blah, 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 blowing smoke up your butt. It was just one of those meetings telling you everything you wanted to hear, nothing that was true. But, they did pick us, a lot of the guys up from the power plant stuff. And, out of that, I did get to work with a lot of good guys on house shows. And we went to the HWA, which Les Thatcher was running. And we were down there with they brought all the Memphis guys down there, like Umaga, Eki, and his brother, the Island Boys, which were 3-minute warning or whatever they started wrestling. Steve Bradley, Lance Cade, a lot of good talent from Memphis was there. And then I got to work with, Steve Blackman, Eddie Guerrero, Val Venus, a lot of these guys that they brought down from WWE, Mark Henry, guys like that.
What went down that you didn't wind up working for WWE ultimately? Like, how could you paint the picture on that?
Yeah, so they said they were coming down to Les's school one day. And we didn't know anything was going on. We didn't know they were going to fire all of us. But so Johnny Ace came down, Ricky Santana, and a few other WWE office people that I really didn't know. They sit us down in a room one by one. Guys were walking out. I was one of the last ones to go in the office. So I remember Kid Romeo came down, and Helix Skipper, and this was like 2 weeks before Christmas, bro. Like they didn't give a crap. Um, they're all coming out looking. They're like, dude, I just got fired. So I'm like, are you serious? And then again, my mentality with the way I work and, you know, my work ethic, my body and stuff, I really didn't think I was going to get fired. But they end up firing mostly everybody that came from the power plant that was on TV with WCW for whatever reason. And they kept all the Memphis guys. And whether they were just trying to do that, just get rid of the WCW guys and keep all their guys, I'll never know. Nobody will ever know. But, you know, that's per opinion based. I believe that was the case. I believe they had us come down there and work with these guys. And we used to go down to Louisville on Sundays and work with John Cena and Randy Orton and Batista and, you know, the Basham brothers and Rico and a lot of these guys. We did their TVs on Sundays. I believe the sole purpose of all of those WCW guys that were on TV from the power plant come down there and help these guys get ready for TV and then get rid of us, which is exactly what happened.
Wow. All right, we're almost out of time. I want to thank you for really taking your Friday night. Fantastic interview. Thank you for being so honest. One ended up on a sad note. If you could share with your thoughts of the passing of the iconic, immortal Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, dude. You know, well, he's one of the reasons I got into business. And if I could tell you one real quick story about Hulk Hogan and myself.
Absolutely.
So when I was a senior in high school, like I said, he's the reason I got into business. Like I had you couldn't see a speck of paint on my walls when I was a kid. There were so many Hulk Hogan pictures and posters. So quick story, when I was a senior in high school, Richfield Coliseum, which is now I think tore down. It used to be a jail or something afterwards. They did the Survivor Series there. Second annual Survivor Series. I actually caught his shirt that he ripped off. Had it up until the day I met him. When I started working with him in WCW, he actually autographed to me. I got it hanging on my wall in my house right now. It says to Alan kayfabe Hulk Hogan. And I still got that to this day. And yeah, it sucks he died. You know, he's got I guess a lot of ghost demons or whatever you'd say. A lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about him, but I can honestly say this. He was my, you know, one of the well, I don't want to say idol because Jesus is my only idol, but you know, back then when you're a kid, when you look up to somebody, he was the guy for me. And for him to sign that shirt for me, and I still got it to this day. And the very first time I met him, he's with Nick, and he was very nice to me. Never was, you know, mean to me at all. Every time I shook his hand and talked to him, he was very nice. So may he rest in peace. And yeah, it sucks.
We're going to hit you something called the Pharaoh's Final Question. Jimmy's going to. Know what I wanted to talk to you about. I want to welcome our new sponsor, 500 Level. www, shouldn't be using that, 500level.com, where they sell all sports clothing and all this wonderful stuff. And support the Monte and the Pharaoh Show. Please use the code MP20, that's MP20, and get a luxurious 20% discount with 500 Level sports gear. And right now they're offering a holiday special with 10%. So that's a whole 30% off the garments. Jimmy, you just being part of their sponsorship, ordered yourself a nice little T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm acknowledging the great tribal chief. Yo, by the way,
I'm really surprised you went that route, dude. I got to be honest with you.
Oh, you know, it's funny as I was looking through, and by the way, they have a lot of great stuff for you folks out there. When you get to that site, there's a lot of good. Dude, I was tortured. You said to me, pick a shirt, and I'm like.
And by the way, it's just not wrestling, dude. It's all sports. Like I was surprised you went wrestling. I was like, really, dude?
Well, you know, I mean, after all, they've been you know, kind enough to be our sponsor, and we're gonna have a partnership with them. Of course, I'm gonna do wrestling. It's a wrestling show. Sometimes it's a wrestling show, right, Mike?
Sometimes, and let's not reminder MP20 for a luxurious 20% off of 500 level. And like I said, for the holiday, they're offering another 10%.
What'd you think I was going to pick? Like Aaron Judge or something? I don't really
Dude,
do that.
I know. I was thinking to myself, is he going to go Yankees or Jets? And if he goes wrestling,
yeah,
he's not going Rome. Like, I was shocked. I thought you would go Hulk Hogan, Savage, Ultimate Warrior, even.
No, because right now, the very thing that you and I talk about from week to week and we pine for is the return of the great tribal chief. Look, we really did enjoy that. Yeah, we really did love that reign.
By the way, I got to show you something here. Do you see this? I got this T-shirt.
Look at that. There you go.
It's really cheesily made, but I fucking
so
love
what?
it.
It's the message that counts.
By the way, I got to ask